Okay, so I'm actually filming this on my phone. Why am I speaking like that? Whoa, okay. Okay, so I'm actually filming this on my phone. And I'm filming a eyeshadow palette declutter slash collection video. So, let me just start by saying there's over 100 palettes here for some reason. I don't know how they managed to creep into my house. I don't know if somebody's planted them in my room as I sleep or what. But there's over 100 eyeshadow palettes here. And I've realized that I actually only have 2 eyes. And my eyelids are actually quite small anyway. So we don't have space for you. We're going to have to get rid of some of you guys today. If you want to really be up in the club, if you want to be in my room, yeah, you're going to have to be bringing something to the table. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be in my room, sorry. The only way these eyeshadow palettes are going to get back into my room is if they're bringing some heat to the table. Okay? If you want to chill with the big boys, you have to be bringing something to the table. Otherwise, you're gone. Do you hear me? Do you guys, do you hear me? Okay. So let's start off with this massive palette right here. So this is the Mina All the Colors eyeshadow palette. Yet to be used. It looks like this. Okay, so this is the Mina All the Colors palette. It looks like this. It's very pretty, so I'm going to keep it. But yeah. So this is the Going Coconuts palette. But I've decided to just... So this is a yellow from the yellow... I don't know what that palette was called. Something about honey. Oh, honey palette. So this yellow's from there. This is from the Aura and Out palette. And then this is from somewhere else as well. I don't actually know. But I just felt like it was... Some of the shades in the Going Coconuts palette was... On my skin tone, I feel like it would show up the same. So I got rid of some of them. And then this is what the palette that I came up with looks like. I just feel like it's giving very nature vibes. So that's what I came up with. I'm just going to keep it. We also have the Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. This is fairly new to my collection. It has not been used, but it will get used. So I am going to keep it. We also have this 4-pan palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills that I customized myself. So obviously I like the shades. So I am going to keep it. This is also brand new as well. This is the Blueprint palette from Melt Cosmetics. This shade arrived broken, so they're sending out a new one, but it's just brand new. It came in the December mystery box. So yeah, this is fairly new, and I am going to keep it. I really like these shades. It just looks very saturated, you know what I mean? That's what I need for my skin tone, so I'm going to keep it. We also have the She's in Parties palette. This palette is what I would have wanted the Urban Decay Naked Free palette to look like. It's just dark. It's the darker version of that palette, so I am going to keep it because I feel like this will work better on my skin tone. It's just super pretty, yeah. So we have these quads. This is an all pressed glitter palette. I don't like pressed glitters in palettes, but I do like glitters sometimes, so I feel like this one would be a good one to keep. This one is just like a neutral palette. This one I actually had before, but then it broke, and then they sent me another one in PR because I purchased it and then I got another one in PR. I have many neutral palettes, so I'm just going to declutter this one. Oh, I think that's the first declutter of the video. We also have this palette, which is quite neutral as well. I don't really need it, so I'm going to declutter it. I'm literally just throwing them on the floor. I need to find like a rug or something to put them on. Okay, we also have this palette. This is the Taurus palette from the Horoscope collection. This is very pretty. Like the way that the sparkle is just like the different colors in there. I'm just gonna have to keep it. Like, who am I to say no? It would just be rude not to. And we also have this one. It's very berry toned. I like that. I don't have many of like these tones inside my collection, so I will be keeping this. This one, looking at it, it's not telling me any stories. I'm not really hearing anything, so I'm gonna declutter this palette. This is the Capricorn palette. I'm a Capricorn, if you couldn't tell. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping it. This is a bit plain, but you know, I don't care. We also have this one. This is, I'm also liking like the reflex in here. It's telling me a bit of a story, so I will be keeping that one. This one, yes, yes, just yes. This one, I feel like this one is kind of trying to be this one, but it's just not her. So you're gonna have to go, love. I'm sorry, you're just not her. Okay, we also have these 2 mini NARS palettes. This one is quite new as well, so it hasn't been used yet, but I liked this this palette, so I just got this one as well because I thought it'll be a nice cute little neutral travel palette. Yeah, I like the shimmers in here. They're quite flaky and have a bit of fallout, but on the lid they look quite nice, so yeah, I'll be keeping both of these. The Rose Quartz by Huda Beauty. This one, yeah, actually surprised me a lot because I wasn't expecting a lot because of they're quite light cool tones, but they go on a bit darker than they look in the pan. And also like these shimmers, I'm gonna have to show you. Let me just get my fingers in these pans. Like, do you see? Like, do you see? I don't even know if this is in focus. It better be in focus, but I know you see this. It's crazy. It's crazy up in here. So yeah, she's getting kept. She ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. So then we have these mini Natasha Denona palettes. This is the mini Metropolis, the mini Xenon, the mini Love, and the mini Star. These 2 I haven't used yet, but this is like, I've wanted a sort of black and white palette for a while, so I've got this palette. I also, actually you'll see later, but yeah, so we have this palette. So I haven't used it yet, but it looks like it would be very good, so I'm going to keep it. This mini one, I'll use it maybe to create some Valentine's Day looks, and I'll keep it. This one, I actually very much like this shade over here. It's like a gold, olive, brown, green. Love it. And then this is like one of those blue-brown shades. Love it as well. This one, I'm not quite sure, you know, because this, although this shade is very pigmented, it is very flaky. Let me, like, super saturated, super gold, but it is very flaky. I'll put this into a maybe, pal. Come back to that at the end, but I'm keeping these 3. Okay, so we have the Huda Neon, the chocolate, the gold, and then we have the Wild collection. Okay, you can see them all in this shot, right? Yeah, okay. So I love this pink in here, and I like the other shades in here as well. These kind of get a bit of hard pan, but I'm gonna keep it because I love the matte shades in here. This one is like one of my favorite neutral palettes. It's just like very neutral, and I like the formula of it, so I'll keep it. This one, although it's quite a light palette, this shimmer, yeah, I'm gonna have to show you. I'm just gonna have to show you, aren't I? Yeah. Like, what? Oh, the disrespect, yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just like, how dare you? It's one of those shades, like, how dare you? How dare you, ma'am? How dare you? It would be rude for me to not to keep it. Like, I have to keep it. Who would I be? Like, who do I think I am, yeah, to deny myself such beauties in life? Like, I deserve the best and only the best, so I'm gonna keep it. And these eyeshadow palettes, I have yet to use them, but they look up my street, so I'm gonna keep them. I know I like the formula for the beauty palette, so yeah, keep them all. Huda, you did good, girl. You did good. Now let's go on to these Glossier trios. I like these palettes because you don't have to think too much, because like, what else can you really do with the shade, you know what I mean? You just put them on your eyes and the look is done. So I like them for that, but I don't know, this one's just a bit too light. Like these 2, you put the color on your lid and it's like a vibe. It's like, oh, I've got orange in my eyes. I've got yellow in my eyes. This one, it's not really as defined on my skin tone at least, so I feel like I'm gonna declutter this one and then I'll keep these two. We have this Norvina collection. This is the volume 3. I feel like I just bought this palette for the packaging, to be honest, because look at how pretty. The packaging is very pretty. But the shades in here weren't really hitting like that. And then we also have a pressed glitter, which I wouldn't use anyways. So yeah, I'm just gonna declutter that one. We have these mini, they're not mini, but they're small. They fit in my hands. They're so cute. We have these Cosmetics. This is the Divine Skies. And then this is the, oh wait, this one's called Magic Hour. This one's called Faded Clementine. Okay, this one arrived broken and also like it's very light for my skin tone. So I wouldn't really, I'm not going to keep this one, but this one's very nice. It's very pigmented and it's perfect for travel, which I don't know why I keep saying travel like you can go anywhere with this coronavirus and the Omarion, but you know, I just have to say words, I guess. We have this Hello Kitty pineapple cake. This is just a very cute little yellow palette. I find it very hard to find yellow palettes. I haven't used this one yet, but to find yellow shades that are actually pigmented, so I'm going to try this out and see if the yellows work, but you know, it's just a yellow palette and it's cute, so I'll keep it. This is just like a, to be honest, I quite like this palette, but again, it's just a neutral palette with like a pop of yellow, which I have, as you just see, I just got a yellow palette right there, and I have neutral palette, so I'm gonna have to declutter this one. We have this is the Colourpop Sailor Moon palette. I found the original one quite light for my skin tone, so I still wanted a pastel palette with this sort of color story, so I just took some shades from other £9 palettes and put them in here. This pressed glitter is from the McGrath palette. This is from the yellow palette, the Honey palette. I don't know what the other ones are from, but I'm like, also they had like these matte shades with the like sparkles in it, which I do not like, so I got rid of those and then I just put in what would be the equivalent into this palette. So yeah, this is my Sailor Moon palette now, and I'm keeping it. We have some £9 palettes. Again, I've been customizing these palettes, so they look a bit different. So this one has a shade from the Orangey Glad palette. This one, I'm not really sure what I did to this one, but it's not the same. It's not the same, girl. It's not the same. And we also have this Orchidea Nut. The bloody mirror is shattered, and I'm shattered inside. Like, my whole soul is just shattered as well. But I also customized this palette as well, because there were some shades in here which I thought were quite similar to each other, but I love the pigment in these shadows. This is like one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes that came out last year. I love this purple palette. Oh, this shade right here. Oh my gosh. They've been killing it lately with their palettes. I can't lie. They've really been smashing it. Just like I smashed the mirror. This is a Sephora Pocket palette. This is Plum Tones. Haven't used it yet. I got it when I was in Spain as well, because obviously we don't have a Sephora in the UK. So I just was like, you know what, let me just pick up some things that I wouldn't be able to get over here. And then this is one of the things. And I have yet to use it. Okay, but it's getting kept. And yeah. So we also have this £5 palette from Colourpop. This is the 143 palette. This shade arrived broken, so it kind of just put me off from using it. And it also has, you just open it up. It also has one of these pressed glitters in it, and it also has one of these mattes with sparkles in it. So it's just like 3 of the 5 palettes, three of the 5 pans in here are just not usable. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Declutter. We also have this magnet, what are they called? Customizable palettes from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It has Anastasia Beverly Hills highlight. It has some colored range shadows in here, some Anastasia shadows in here, Lethal Cosmetics, Colourpop. I think that's it. But yeah, I love these sort of shades. It's very neutral, but then we also have like some pops of colors that we could put in here, the berry tones. But it's very natural colors, so I like that. keeping it. If I haven't said it, yeah, I'm keeping it. We have this Sugar Pill palette. I've yet to, oh my days, I haven't used so many of these palettes because I just get so overwhelmed because there's so many eyeshadow palettes here. So yeah, but I'm keeping them, like, it's not like I'm doing anything about it, I'm keeping them. Yeah, we have this eyeshadow palette. This is the Sugar Pill Capsule Collection. And I just like the shades in here. It's very unique. I haven't seen a color story like this before, so I'm keeping it. Duh. Like, what else am I supposed to do? Oh, this one I'm getting rid of for sure, for sure. This big ass pressed glitter in here, yeah. I'm like, what is actually happening? And I just feel like, first of all, these pan shapes are so awkward to get a brush inside, but I don't know why. Okay, that shade is pretty. Damn, I should have done that. Let me see. Oh, that's quite pretty. But it's not really, it's quite lackluster. Okay, I'm kind of glad I did that now. Okay. Yeah, you can go. You can go. Does she want to go? Yeah, you can go. Should she go? Yeah, it has a big ass thing there. And then these shades just aren't that vibrant. It's not giving me what I need. Especially, like, it's just not giving me what I need. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. This is the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. Love these, like, sort of baked shadows that are in here. And then we also have these matte shades in here. BH Cosmetics, yeah, have really stepped up their game. Like, the formula is actually quite banging right now, so I would very much recommend it. I really love using like a setting spray with it. Then the intensity of these shadows is banging, so love it. Let me just give you a little taste of what I'm talking about. A little taste. Yeah. Yeah. During the year, I actually decluttered this palette. But then I was like, damn, I should have gave it away. And then they came out with the Mandalorian palette. What did I say before? I don't think I said the child palette before. Okay, so this is the child palette. Then they came out with the Mandalorian palette, which is also very gorgeous. And so they sent me the child palette again, so I was very happy about that. I have yet to use them though, because, you know, me. The Morphe James Charles palette. Okay, I'm definitely giving this away. I just don't understand why James Charles is still even a thing after the things he's done. So yeah, I'm just gonna declutter that. No questions asked. Whew. We have the Be Perfect Carnival XL palette. I actually feel like I'm going to declutter this palette. I feel like it's quite large, so I won't really reach into it, especially since it's like, okay, this part is neutrals, and then we have this rainbow part here, but then even this rainbow is not really, like, there's one red. It's not really giving proper rainbow. Although I really like some of the shimmers in here are really nice, like this one. Oh, damn. Maybe I should have done that. I'm just convincing myself to keep it. No, Noel, you don't actually need this palette. You have other rainbow palettes. It's okay. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this one. Ooh, wow, I wasn't expecting that, you know. Back-to-back rainbow palettes, gone. Just like I said, I have many rainbow palettes. Another one, the Carnival 3, the Tahiti palette. I actually really like this one, so I'm going to keep it. It's more vibrant. It's more, even though it doesn't have a yellow in here, it's just like, I have that yellow palette that I had before. Oh, it's all covered together. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep this palette. I like the shades in here. It's very saturated and vibrant, and just like the colors speak to me more. I'm more inspired by this palette. Well, my voice is going. Okay. Let me just take a sip of this. Okay. We also have the Carnival Antidote palette. I have not used this palette yet, but she's not going anywhere. I feel like I kind of missed the boat to use this palette because this is more of a autumn sort of palette, but she's not going anywhere. I'll just use it. I'll use it this year. this Line Crime palette, and then we have this Lottie London palette. It's quite similar color stories. This one's also reminding me of the Huda Beauty palette that I can't. They're both kind of doing that, to be honest. I think I will just declutter both of these. Just like that. We have another one of these. Also, another thing I must point out. These aren't even all of my palettes. Some of my palettes have gone on walkies and I cannot find them, but I guess they're just going to stay in my collection. I like this palette as well. It's just a more warm tone neutral palette. With like, this is almost like a reddish shade. It is red basically. So yeah. Red, copper. Just giving me the rich vibes. So I'm going to keep it. I also love the Huda Beauty formula. So I'm going to keep it for sure. For sure. We have these two Animal Crossing palettes. Not used yet, but they both have pressed glitters in them, so I feel like I'm gonna just declutter them. Also, I don't know, just gonna declutter these two. We have the Lock It Down palette. What am I gonna do with this? This one kind of reminds me of one of the quads that I kept. What am I gonna do with this? Actually quite light. The thing is, I don't know. I'll declutter it. Oh my days, am I going to declutter it? It looks so pretty. Oh, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, let me just swatch this shade right here. You see what I mean? Look at how pretty. Oh, and I'm just supposed to give it away. Oh, it feels so smooth. Oh. You know what, Noelle? You're strong in it. You're strong. You don't need it. You don't need it. I quite like the way this looks. It's like quite they're very denim blues. I don't really have that in my collection, so I'm going to keep this palette. So we have this palette as well. Not used yet, but this shade, woo! I'm not going to touch it yet. I just want to preserve it. It looks so beautiful. Wow, I touch it. So yeah, this is this palette, but I'm going to keep it. It hasn't been used yet. As I said, this is a declutter / collection video, yeah. So if I'm not just decluttering here, there, and everywhere, it's not my fault. We also have this High Tide palette from Colourful. Not used yet. This is like teals, turquoise, greens, blues. I haven't used it yet, but it's super pretty and I'm going to keep it because why wouldn't I? We have this Lethal Cosmetics. What's this one called? Velvet Dust, but I also put in this shade right here. I haven't used this palette yet, but look at how pretty that is. I am going to have to keep it. The shimmers in here look incredible. So, yeah, I'm going to have to keep it. I'm going to have to keep it. Like, I have no choice. Honestly, I have no choice. I also have the Lethal Cosmetics Berlin 89 palette. This is quite a weird color story, I won't lie, but this shade right here, which is like a multi-chrome sort of shade, I love it. I don't know if you'll be able to see the different shades in here. Maybe even in, do you see in the mirror? Does it give a different shade over there? I don't know. But yeah, it's just, it has sort of green, purple, gold, sort of, it's giving all those different shades. So yeah, I'm going to keep this palette just for that shade, to be honest. Because the other shades aren't really, they're not drawing me in. They don't look that vibrant, but I'm going to have to keep it. As I've said many times in the past, I'm going to have to keep it. Okay, this is the I Heart Revolution, I Am Limitless palette. This is quite a pretty color story. But again, like, it's the the layout of it. These pans are so tiny. It puts me off, like, even getting a brush in there. So I'm gonna have to declutter it. We have this Juvia's Place X Vanessa palette. Looks like this. I quite like this shade and this shade. I quite like the whole thing, to be honest. I'm gonna keep it. We have this. This is the Colourpop Bambi collaboration. It's not really drawing me in while I'm looking at it right now, so I'm gonna have to declutter it. This is also like a matte with shimmers in it, which I do not like. And so yeah, you're gone. You're gone. We have these Too Faced Salted Caramel palette. It's just a neutral palette. Does it smell? Okay, it smells quite nice. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be smelling you every day, so we don't care about that. Take that out of the situation. Oh, that feels good. Do I even dare to look at it? I know if I look at the shade that I just watched, I'm going to like it. Because the way that I felt, yeah, like butter. Absolute butter. I know I'm going to want to keep it. Okay, it's not really... It didn't really do much for me. It didn't really do much for me. I've seen shades like this. Okay, you can go. You can go. Woo! You go, Noel. Okay. Shame. You thought you could get one over on me? Okay, should we go on to some Pat McGrath? Obviously, we know they're not going anywhere. We know they're not going anywhere, but we're going to have to do this anyways, our formalities. Yeah. So we have this one right here. This is the holiday collection from last year, 2021. Gorgeous. We're gonna have to keep it. Just absolutely gorgeous. Let me just give you a little taste of what we have going on here. Just a little taster. Yeah. We like that. Yeah, we're keeping it. We also have one of the best palettes of 2021. The Pat McGrath. You already know what it is. You know what it is, boy. We got the Utopian. So freaking pretty. These sort of, like, what? It's just like, huh? I don't even know what else to say. I don't even have the words. You're staying, you know. Also, like, the packaging, the bloody packaging. Miss Pat just knows what she's doing. She just knows. She just knows, like, she just knows. We also have the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction. I was literally talking myself out of getting this palette for the longest time, but then I just snapped one day because of, I think it was Black Friday. It was like Black Friday, and then they also had like 10% off the sale price. I was like, obviously, this is a sign that I have to get it, because like, it was like God was speaking to me himself. Like, I heard him whispering in my ears to go get it, and I had to go get it. So I did. Look at it. She's so pretty. Okay, let's just do a little swatch with these too. Like, it's just different. It's just different gravy. You don't see these sort of things every day. You know what I mean? It's just a bit different. It's just a bit different. Of course you're staying. Of course. And also the packaging of this one too. Here, this one was like a bit shambolic with the packaging here. This is how it arrived. But also the deal I got in it, who am I to complain? To be very honest. So I'm going to keep it, obviously. This is the Kylie Pressed Powder Palette. It does actually have a name for this palette. The thing is, yeah, some of these shimmers are gorgeous, but then some of them are not. And then some of these matte shades are just, they're very similar to each other, like these and then these. Okay, so my battery died, and so I'm back with this palette. The last palette I showed was the Kylie palette, and I decided to declutter that because it just seemed like a lot of repetitive shades that I already have in my collection. So there's no point in keeping it. So now we're here with some Anastasia palettes. So this is the Norvina collection. This is volume 4. I really like this palette. It's just very girly, like bubblegum, Barbie. Like, this is her. Like, any pink that you need, really, is in this palette. We have some purples in here as well. 2 pressed glitters that, could take them or leave them. I like the shimmers in here, though. They're very... It doesn't look like I've used this palette, but I actually have, and I quite like it. So I'm going to keep this palette. And then... we have the volume 3. This is more of a colourful palette. I feel like this would be very nice in the spring, summertime. Just has like quite vibrant shades. I like the shimmers in here as well. The only problem with these palettes is that they're quite big, and so I don't really reach for them that often, but the actual shadows in here are quite good. Okay, this is the volume 2. It has like nice blues in here, but I feel like the color story is a bit random. Like, it's blues and greens. It's giving like sea vibes, and then it just has these pops of pink and yellow and orange. I'm like, what's really going on here? Like, I'm not really sure. It's just like, but it's the fact that these are actually really good shadows as well. Like, this pink is very, very nice, but you know what? I'm gonna have to declutter you because you're not really telling me a cohesive story. It's just a bit random. It's just a bit random. And then we have the Norvina volume 1. As you can see, I've also used this palette. This white is like one of the best whites I've ever used. But again, it's just a bit random. I love the shades in here. It's just the color story is a bit random. And it throws me off. I like things a bit more simple. So you're gone as well. This is the Kylie Bible palette. The mattes in here, really, I do not give I couldn't care less. But the shimmers in here are kind of stunning. Like, do you see that? I really hope it's focusing. Also, this is a dupe for the Nabla Secret something part 2. I don't know what it was called. This is a dupe for that, so I wanted that palette. So since this is sort of a dupe for it, I'm going to keep this one instead. The Riviera. Let me just put that in one place. Okay, you have the Riviera. This was like Anastasia's first colourful palette, so I was using it quite a lot when it first came out, but since then I have a lot more colourful palettes. The shimmers in here are quite nice as well, but as I'm saying, like, I have these shades, and this palette right here, it's not really speaking to me anymore, so I'm gonna declutter that. The shimmers in here, stunning. I'm gonna have to show you, aren't I? I'm gonna have to show you, because it's just so pretty. We also have the Soft Glam palette. It's just like, if you need a soft glam, neutral, basic, whatever sort of look, this is the palette for that. This is why I'm able to get rid of so many other of my neutral palettes, because of this palette. This is just like tried and true. You know what you're gonna get. Soft glam, that's what it's called, that's what you're gonna get. That's what it says on the tin. You gotta love it. Keeping that. This Nambizi palette, I love it, but I don't like the fact that it has 2 extra shades in here, so it's harder to store with the rest of my other Anastasia palettes. I just wish that they had gotten rid of these 2 pressed glitters, and it would have been so much better and more concise. But I love the shades in here. Another really nice neutrals, but pops of colors in here. So yeah, I'm going to keep it. Any more Anastasia? Not that I can see. Okay, so we're going to go in with this McGrath palette. This is from holiday collection of 2020, I believe. The shades in here are stunning. Very pigmented. The mattes in here, they go on darker than they look as well. So although it doesn't look like it would be able to like give you all the depth, and you might not think that you'd be able to create a proper cohesive look with it, but yeah, she really can, because the shades look different when they're applied onto the eye. And the shimmers in here are amazing, so I'm going to keep it. We have this Kimchi Chic. This is the Two Queens and One Desert palette, so it's half kimchi, half Naomi Smalls. The shades are really pigmented. I haven't really used this palette that often, but looking at it, it's very vibrant and it's calling my name, so I might go in with this palette a bit more frequently. Keeping that. I haven't declared anything recently. Okay, so this is the Kaleidos. This is the Luna Lavender. I love Kaleidos. This is like one of my favorite brands right now. Like, also these shimmers are like, they're just second to none. There's something different. I don't know. And I love the packaging. It's just, they just give me what I need. There's always like, the shimmers are always very unique and they're never just like one color, I would say. There's always some sort of twist and turn to it. So I like that. I like the reflex in it. And the mattes are a good formula as well. So I am going to keep this one, Flower Punk, which comes like this. I love this color story and I love the formula of this as well. These two are more like toppers, and then this one is like a proper full-on metallic shade, and I love the matte shades in here as well. I am going to keep it. We have the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. This is a bit too random for me. Whenever I look at it, I'm a bit confused. I don't really know what to do with it. It's just like, there's pastels in here, there's blacks and these dark matte colors, and then there's these different sort of duochrome shades, and then I'm like, my head's twisting and turning. I don't really know what to do. Am I going to faint? I don't know. And then we also, some of these metallics, they get hard pan quite quickly. You might be able to see that one there. So I am just going to declutter this one because it's too much work. It's too much brain power just to use a palette. I just want to put the eyeshadow on my eyes. I don't want to have to think about it. This is the Sample Beauty, the Painter's palette by Beth Painter in collaboration with Sample Beauty. It's just a nice rainbow palette. The metallics in here are really, really good. Yeah, it just has everything that you need. So I'm going to keep it. This is the Nikkie Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette. I love this palette. I love the shades in here. The shimmers are stunning. I like these shades are like my pastel shade. These shades are pastel shades on my skin. So I like this palette because it's like a pastel palette for me. And then there's also like these bold, vibrant colors that work really well as well. And the shimmers are, again, stunning on the eye. I might have to give you guys a little swatch, you know, because how could I? Do you see that? Incredible. Incredible. We also have this Dose of Colors Francation palette in collaboration with Desi and Katie. This is discontinued, I believe, but this is like one of my favorite special occasion palettes. The shimmers in here are just insane. Like, what? Just like melting on the bloody skin. So I have to keep it. I have to keep it. This was a anniversary palette or something like that. I do not use this palette. It's really pretty. It's very like summery and colourful vibes, but I just do not use it. It's not really calling out to me, so it's going to have to be decluttered. Woo! It's like a speed round. Okay. The Kaleidos Escape Pod. I love this palette. The shimmers in here are insane in the membrane. I'm going to have to keep it. Let me just give you a few swatches because Kaleidos really been doing it for me. Like, do you see? Do you see what I mean? Gorgeous. Bloody gorgeous. Staying in my collection. I have the orange and the pistachio. I don't know why I said it like that. Sweet Shop palettes by BH Cosmetics. BH Cosmetics has really been doing it for me recently, and these are no exception. But I don't know. I feel like this palette, it wasn't hit as much as the pistachio one. So I'm gonna keep the pistachio one. I'm gonna declutter this orange palette. Although The orange shades could be really good blushes. No, Noel. No. No excuses. Okay, I'm going to declutter this one and keep the pistachio palette. We have this Barrier Cosmetics Shipwreck palette. I think I got this palette for £5. And the shimmers in here, well, some of them are gorgeous. I'm going to have to show you again. Because I'm like, £5 and then you're doing that to me. Okay. I'm going to have to keep you in it. But then again, I haven't used this palette. Right, I've definitely tried it out, but I don't reach for this palette. So I'm going to have to declutter you. Because honestly, you've been here for too long to have not made an impact. Like, you're not that girl. So you're going to have to go. This is the Sashimi City palette. Looks like this. Gorgeous. Honestly, there's something about these shimmer shades that just really do it for me. I'm gonna have to keep her. We have this one. This is the Astro Pink Futurism Free. I haven't actually used this palette. And looking at it, I don't think I will use it. So I will declutter you, even though I know the shimmers in here are going to be insane. I can see just by looking at it. But I've had you for a long time and I haven't reached for you, so I'm just going to let you go. I'm going to have to let you go. Okay, so then here we have the Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Storm palette. It looks like this. It has it's intriguing to me, but I've had you for a while and you haven't made any noise. Like, let me do some swatches. Let me see what I'm working with. Yeah, you're not really... This shade is quite different because it has like quite a fuchsia sort of undertone with the purple, but I can't keep the whole palette just from one shade, so I'm gonna have to declutter you. Woo! No, wow, you're really going through it. Luna Beauty palettes. Okay, I love the Moonspell palette. She's not going anywhere. She looks like this. Gorgeous. I love the shade Phoebe, this one here. It looks like just wet on the lid. I love it. I love it. We also have the Strawberry Dream. It looks like this. I love the shades in here. Just another gorgeous palette. I really love just like the aesthetics of these palettes as well. Really, really nice. And we have this palette as well. I haven't used this palette yet, but I know I'm gonna love it. It's so umptuous, you know what I mean? It's a bit umptuous. So I'm gonna keep all three of these. I love the quality of Sigma palette eyeshadows. I haven't tried this one yet, but as soon as I tried, this is the first Sigma shadow I had tried. And as soon as I got this one, I was like, I definitely need this one. So I'm gonna keep these for sure. These shimmer shades are like stunning, and the mattes blend so well as well, so I'm going to keep these two. Here we have the Maybelline News of New York palette. Oh, wow. I have not even opened this palette. It's like it still has the seal on it. For that reason, I am going to declutter you because clearly I have enough nudes in my palette, to be honest. So it would be nice to have like, because I don't think I have any Maybelline eyeshadow palettes in my collection, but there's no point in me opening it if I know I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to declutter that. Here we have the Revolution Pro Truth or Dare palette. This is like probably my favorite palette to come from any Revolution brand. There's even though these are quite flaky, there's something about them. It's just, on the eye, these shades look, wait, which one? Bloody incredible. Like, how much is this palette? This palette is like, I think it's £11 or something like that. It's just so pretty. It's one of their best works. And even like these shimmer shades as well. It's just fully opaque, fully saturated, fully metallic. Fully metallic shades. I love it. I'm gonna keep it. Another Revolution palette. This is the Glam Glow eyeshadow palette. I love this shade. I love this shade. I like the shimmers in here, but the mattes in here are a bit too light for me to be able to like create many cohesive look, so I am going to declutter this palette. We have some Olden's Eye eyeshadow palettes. The hype that I saw for these palettes just doesn't make any sense for what I actually received, like, because they're not popping that much. Like, they're nice, but they're not that amazing. This one also has two pressed glitters, which I do not like. So even though this looks like it would be quite a nice spring palette. No, but I have these shades in my collection. I could definitely create a look similar to these using the shadows I have in my collection. Okay, I'm going to declutter this one for sure. This one is a bit more interesting. It has more different shades. Like, these shades all have like some sort of like duochromeness to them. Like, okay, I'm going to keep this one. I lied to myself. I tried to be cute, but yeah, she's calling my name when I see it. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to declutter that one. This one just has a few more different sorts of shades, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, so this is probably like one of the oldest palettes in my collection, and it still goes hard, but actually no, it doesn't. I lied. The shimmers in here are a bit weak now. Like, I feel like Colourpop has stepped up their game when it comes to eyeshadows, so this is like one of the only shadows I've hit pan in, to be very honest. So it's definitely been well loved, but your time has come to leave. So keep going. Here is the Nightmare Before Christmas palette. I actually quite like this palette, but they're not shadows that I would be drawn to use again, even though I liked it when I used it. And I also feel like it's just the color story of this palette, but the actual shades and the shadows themselves I like. But I feel like I also have these shades in other palettes. So I'll be able to recreate whatever look I would create with this palette with my other eyeshadows. So for that reason, you're gonna go, even though I love you. I have to reason. I have to create some sort of reasoning here, guys. I can't lie. Here's the Lush Life palette. I love it. So pigmented. Just amazing. One of the best palettes of last year. You're not going anywhere. You've cemented your place in my collection. I like it. This is a new palette that I've gotten, still in the packaging. This is the Cherry Crush palette. It's just like a nice, ready sort of palette. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I love the packaging. It's staying in the collection. Here is another palette that I love. This is probably like my favorite packaging that Colourpop has ever done. Look at how bloody expensive velvet, crushed velvet on the palette. When have you ever seen that? You've never seen that before. And then I really like it's just a very nice, simple, muted berries, muted mauves, like neutrals. This looks expensive, so, you know, I'm going to keep it. I like expensive things, you know. Also, like this is the So Very Lovely palette. It's just a very nice, sort of romantic, sort of springtime palette. Yet to use this one as well, but it looks really pretty, and I am going to keep it. This is the Colourpop with Lizzie McGuire, What Dreams Are Made Of palette. It has a pressed glitter in here, which I don't like. It also has these mattes with shimmers in here, which I don't like as well. And also this is like also a different sort of matte with shimmer. It's not like as reflective as this, but it's just not a solid matte. And then I like the shimmers in here, but I definitely have these shimmers elsewhere. I love the sort of story, the color story, the color palette of it, but it would have to have so many different tweaks that I wouldn't be able to keep this palette in my collection. So for that reason, you're gone. The Good as Gold palette. Another pressed glitter in here. Another matte with these shimmers in here. But I do love there's these sort of like chunky metallics that just They're super pigmented and they have a super shock shadow in here as well. I'm sure I have these shades. Okay, yeah, it's gonna declutter that. Okay, so we also have the Cabana Club. I haven't used it yet. It's more of a summery palette, but it's really pretty, so I'm going to keep it. I haven't used it yet. I've said that already. But yeah, I love the color story of it. Just nice pops of colors, and I feel like it'll do well in the future. This is probably, if not, this is probably joint for the oldest palette in my collection with that, with Chasing Rainbows palette that I decluttered. The Good Sport. This is like one of my favorite palettes that Colourpop has ever brought out. The color story in here is banging. The shades in here are banging. They really need to come back with this same palette, but maybe with like today's quality of shadows. Because even though these shadows are really good, if it was like as good as the shadows in the Lush Life palette, say magnifique, like it would be chef's kiss. So I am going to keep this palette, but I'm gonna have a word with Colourpop. No, we're joking. We only have a few more eyeshadow palettes to go through. My mouth is so dry from all this talking. Okay, so we have the Fade into Hue. This is another rainbow palette. This is one of the reasons why I feel like I can get rid of the other colourful palettes that I have, even though these have pressed glitters in here as well, but there's so many shadows in here you can sort of overlook the pressed glitters in here. And yeah, it's just a really nice pigmented colourful palette, so I'm going to keep her. Here it's in the mood. Oh, this is one of my favourite palettes of last year as well. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. The metallics in here, gorgeous. I love the sort of grungy shades in here. Just sort of jewel tone. It looks so good on deep skin. I love it. Gonna keep that. And then we also have a Play It Jewel palette. I have yet to use it, but I feel like these shades will look really nice on deep skin as well. Has really nice pops of colors, and I can, just by looking at these shadows, I can tell that they're going to be really pigmented and work really well. So I'm going to keep this palette as well. And yeah, decluttered. Makeup by Mario. These are bloody gorgeous. Just so pigmented. Stunning. Like, love it. Love it. The pigment, the reflection, it's just giving what it needs to give. Keeping it. This is the Suva Beauty Hyper Color palette. Yeah, I think I'm gonna declutter it. I like these topper shades, like they're really pretty, but also like I have pigments like this, so I don't really need to keep it. If I could just like somehow, maybe these are magnetic, maybe I'll be able to take these 4 shades out and then just declutter the rest of the palette, because I definitely don't need this part of the palette, but these 4 topper shades are gorgeous, as you can see. So if I can take these 4 shades out, I'll just do that and just declutter the rest of the palette. So I'm just gonna put that there. Here are 2 KKW palettes. When they were like going out of business or whatever they were doing, the palettes were like $10. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take those off your hands, and I haven't used them since. But I do want to try them out just so I can know what the formula is like. And yeah, I'm going to keep both of these. Okay, so here we have a Makeup by Mario quad. This is in the shade Rosy Glam. It looks like this. I haven't used it. Oh my days, I can't believe how many of these palettes I haven't used. It's ridiculous. Okay. My plan is, yeah, to declutter some of these palettes so then I can do a series where I actually use every single one of my eyeshadow palettes. So I can say that I've at least used every one of my eyeshadow palettes, because this doesn't make any sense to have this many eyeshadow palettes and they're not even being used. Like, make it make sense. So I'm gonna keep this palette just so I can know what the mattes are like, because the other eyeshadow palette is just pure metallics. Here we have some Beauty Bay palettes. I like these palettes compared to the other palettes that they have. These 20-pan palettes are different to the other sort of palettes that they have. This is like a more Valentine's Day themed palette. Love the pink and red tones in here, the neutrals in here, the olive, the purple. It's just a bit different, romantic sort of shades. I love it. Keeping that. The Wilderness, big banger up in here. Love these shades together. It's giving me the Melt, the duo palettes that they had and they had like the flower skulls on it. I have no idea what it's called, but it's no longer available. So when I saw this palette came out, I was like, okay, I'm copying that ASAP. And it is really, really good. So I'm keeping that. And we also have the, what's this one called? Book of Magic palette. This one isn't my favorite, but it's still quite good. So for that reason, I'm going to keep it, especially because it has all these blues in it. And I don't really have that many blues in my collection. So I'm going to keep it. And I love the shimmer shades as well. So yeah, keeping all three of those. Here we have two Natasha Denona palettes. So here is the retro. I love this. This is like, I don't really have many shades like this because I feel like they don't really pop on my, wait, let me just do this one first. Shades like this don't really pop on my skin tone, but these are pigmented enough for it to like, when you see that it's like a mauve, it actually looks mauve on my skin, so I like that. So especially this shade here, and this one's like a cream to powder shade. I love that. The shimmers in here are really nice as well, so I'm going to keep that one. This is the Sunrise palette. I've rearranged it so it's just a bit more pleasing to my eye because it was a bit more scattered, if you will, when I first got it. And yeah, it's just a really nice sunrisey palette. Has all those sort of, I want to say sunny colors, but you know, what does that really mean? All the shades in here are pigmented. They work well. They melt together. They blend together. So I'm definitely going to keep that as well. And obviously, Natasha is quite expensive, so we're not just going to be tossing her to the side like that. We're getting down to like the last 10 palettes. Okay. Here is the Ace Beauty Oceanic palette. Apparently, they've reformulated their eyeshadows, but they're no longer available on Beauty Bay, so I won't be able to get those. I like these like sort of blue, green shades, but I don't reach for this palette. I really don't. Let me see. I'm not liking the way they're feeling in the pan either. I can get rid of this palette. Here is the Sleek Lucid Dreams palette. This is like a nice rainbow palette, but again, I have many rainbow palettes, so I feel like I'm going to have to get rid of this one, even though this silver is like one of the best silvers I've used, but I can't keep a whole palette just for one shade. This is the Trippin' palette. This is just like a neutral with pops of blues and oranges. No, I'll declutter this one. This is the Making Waves palette. Okay, I like this palette. I love the shimmers in here. They are very, especially for drugstore, you don't really get many shimmers like this, like that sort of holographic sort of shimmer. I'm going to keep this one. Here is the Melt Mary Jane palette. A lot of people didn't like this palette, but I actually quite like it. I love the shimmers in here, and the mattes blended well for me as well. And it's just like a nice cool tone palette, which I don't have many of those in my collection, so I'm going to keep it. Here are two Dose of Colors palettes. The Smoky Soiree and the Cutting Edge palette. I don't think I've really used these palettes, but they are looking quite nice here. So I will give these a go, create a look with it, and yeah, see how they perform, and I'll keep these for now. Here we have, this isn't the Soul Jaded palette anymore. This is literally, with all the knives, I had so many 9-pan palettes that I was like, this is taking up too much space. So I just took the best shades from that palette and I put them in here. But now, now that I put them in here, Because in the Sorbet the palette, I was basically just using the palettes on the edge here, and then there was 20 shadows here that I just wasn't using. So I took all those out and then put in like the best of the best of the £9 palettes in here. But now that they're all together like this, it is like so chaotic looking that it's kind of throwing me off from even using these shades. But then when I look at the shades individually, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that shade. I like that shade. Okay, I'm going to keep this palette. I'm going to just try and work with it because you created this bed. You're going to have to lie in it. Like, nobody asked you to do what you did. Noelle. Okay, these are my last two palettes. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. A lot of people did not like this palette, but I actually love this palette. Really nice grungy colors, like autumn colors. Electric, that's Bay right there. Love it. Definitely keeping this palette. And here we have the last palette. This is the Blowing Smoke palette. This palette has actually had many names. I don't know what was going on for a while, but this is also quite a new palette. This is when I was looking for a black and white palette, and then I got the mini Xenon palette in another. It was like a bundle of Code Beauty, so now I have two black and white palettes. Maybe I'll do like a comparison video for that, but I haven't used it yet, so I am going to keep it and see how it goes with this palette. Woo! Oh my gosh. I can breathe. Okay, so that was the end of the declutter video. Let me count up how many eyeshadow palettes I decluttered. Give me a second. Okay, so if I counted correctly, I have decluttered 47 palettes. Wow, I am really out of it right now. I have no idea how many there was altogether. I'll put that up on the screen and then you can see like a percentage if you really care about that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm actually very surprised I was able to get rid of all of these palettes. I am a lot stronger than I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be a lot more attached to these, but no. All of these are going to be rehoused or donated. Yeah, that's all for this video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the first of my new tutorials. Okay, bye guys.